The NFL offseason is always such an interesting time because it ain't no actual game action, but it still manages to be kinda exciting. Being MIA since the last week of Carolina season, so let's address their offseason. Last year, the team addressed the absolutely poorest offensive line, and it worked out. Unfortunately though, the Panthers had statistically the worst defense of all time, so attention had to be turned up. Thought the team was finna get Milton Williams for literally a few minutes, but nope. He played the city a little bit, but it's cool, get your bag up. Firstly, and most importantly, Carolina's getting their best player back in Derrick Brown. Missed essentially all of last season, but before that, he's shown to hands down be one of the best interior linemen on this planet. And instead of getting Milton, you get Tershawn Wharton, who had a career year in KC on a 3-year deal. Was it a slight overpay? Maybe. He a good young player nonetheless who ain't done nothing but get better since coming into the league. Any talent is good talent for a defense that was incompetent as this one was. Turk was joined by a big body Bobby Brown at the nose, as well as Patrick Jones II. All these guys cool, probably nice rotational guys, which honestly, everybody on the edge is more of a rotational guy to be frank. Clowney gone now too. Don't really like that move, but okay. It's a decent rush by committee, but further reinforcements was absolutely needed. We'll get into that in a minute though. Mike Jack got a 2-year deal. Decent number 2. Cool dude, I ain't mad at it. And the highlight thus far in Charlotte, J.C. Horn had reset the corner market for about 3 hours. If you've been around for any amount of time, you know that I am completely thrilled by this move. J.C., when healthy, is indubitably one of the better corners in the league. The problem historically has been his health. I'm talking about out of 68 eligible contests, my dog done only played in 37 of them. That is actually terrible. But this past year, he essentially played the whole season, which is a great sign, and hopefully it's portent of what's to come. Gotta speak on the standout signing of Trayvon Merritt. Won't hold you. Might be another little overpay. Really when you do consider what Holland got, but it had to be done. He a good player, no doubt. Shines in the box. Should help on all fronts, but especially with that run defense. And I shan't leave out one of the sole offensive signings with Rico Dowdle. My lord, did I almost cry when I got this notification. I had spoke on my fears of running Chuba into the ground, the absolute need of another back due to Jonathan Brooks' injury, and the departure of Miles Sanders. Into Rico, who just came off a career year, in a contract year, which make a lot of people think it was a fluke. Don't care. Put him behind this line and another good year could be imminent. A Rico Chuba duo, boy, I am moved. Okay, so the initial part of the offseason was quite decent. Slight. Then you get to the draft. I had a pre-draft drawn in construction, but I ain't finished in time. So I wasn't fully able to get off what I had to say, but my community post did the job. I was fully prepared for Jalen Walker to be the pick. I ain't want that, but I was ready. Now he a Falcon, which isn't ideal. And James Pierce forever got an enemy in me, and it ain't even nothing football related. They showed him celebrating after the pick was announced, and I was genuinely almost mad. Anyways, I was in the crib literally jumping for joy, almost shedding tears at the pickup of Tetsuroy McMillan. Jesus, was I. And am I still jubilant? I'm moved by T-Mac himself as a player, and the still crystal clear vision of trying to build around your QB. T-Mac to me is just a real good football player. Will go at about 6'4", 215. He just good at everything. Good athlete, route runner, hands to pluck balls out the air. Versatile in his alignments, which I believe early on will help him get going. And he does have the potential to be that number 1 alpha that people salivate over. He a lot different than the old school big body though. Is he capable in them jump ball, just go get it situations? Sure. But he a lot more smooth and fluid of big guys of the past. His yak ability is something that a lot overlook for some reason. As well as his smarts against zone. I pray the staff utilizes him early and often in the underneath game, cause boy, I'm knowing he can make a killing now. A lot of his games should be kinda as an underneath security blanket kinda tight end. I think of what Kelsey do a lot of nowadays, or Jason Witten back in the day. He used to just always be open, getting Nalo some hitches, or really choice routes at the sticks. And then once he get the rock, let him work out a little bit. It should be known though that McMillan is highly effective at all 3 levels. Real red zone demon. His addition should strictly help everybody else, Bryce in particular. I believe their skill sets blend beautifully, but it'll also make things easier for the other rostered receivers, allowing them to maybe play in spots that fit more their current skill set. I'm talking about XL. I said it in my last Panther John, and I will keep saying it. I am sick of this fan base. I get on the internet and see so many people ready to give up on a rookie, or even a second-year player. Brother, there's many examples, but just recently, Bryce Young, Chuba Hubbard, Derrick Brown, actually, among others, were all either not good or underwhelming out the gate. A young man struggling a bit early on as he make the jump to playing with grown men is perfectly fine and normal. It's called progression. Yes, there's plenty for Xavier to get to work on, and there's plenty of time for him to fix it. Jesus. Coming out of SC, a lot of people said they weren't moved by XL as a route runner. And when I look back on his rookie year, I genuinely believe he was actually pretty good as a separator. The worries were never about his hands. Now, were there some egregious drops that I don't want to see next year? Absolutely. Also too, I ain't gonna get into the conspiracy theories of the wrist injury and how it could have and probably did affect him. But it's only one season. I won't do too much in regards to the drops. Yeah, got to clean that up though, my boy. My dog a video vixen now too. But for as overzealous as I am with the T-Mac pick, the one that I still can't believe is the acquisition of Nick Scorton. The A&M film I watched over the draft cycle has me convinced that their defensive coaches are terrorists. I believe they had a good bit to do with Shamar Stewart's lack of production, as well as the dip in Nick Scorton. His abilities are there. He not overly explosive or bendy, but a good athlete, who's now dropped around 20-ish LBs, which you would think should help his overall style of play, cause he ain't no hulking power rusher per se. Still great size. In the middle of the second, edge room was complete garbage juice, and I was calling for a double dip at some point, and the team went back to back. More great value with Princely Umamielen in the third round. Was a great year to need some edge help because there were so many good ones that some had to fall. I believe Prince can come in day one and be an alright little designated pass rusher. Silky smooth, bendy speed rusher. And the best case scenario for a player like him is to put on a little size and strength. Not too much though, because you don't want to take away from the athleticism that make him who he is. These 3 picks alone solidified that this draft was great. I quite frankly ain't care what the team did after these. But picked up Trevor Etienne, which, not gonna lie, I originally ain't care too much for it, but he could bring a skill set to the back room that ain't there. Scat back with some real juice. Could show something in the return game too. I ain't mad. Now the Lathan Ransom pick. It ain't even about him per se. He cool, but Malachi Moore was on the board. And Lathan's current skill set essentially mirrors Trayvon Merrick's instead of complementing it, but whatever. Had to continue to try and add size and girth to what was a horrid defensive front. Cam Jackson certainly do that. And they closed with 2 picks that I am excited about. Mitchell Evans appears to be a quite well-rounded tight end who was able to start catching his stride on the back end of this past season coming off a torn ACL. Great size and could be a do-it-all kind of guy, but mainly serve in line as a wonderful complement to the receiving ability that JT brings. And Jimmy Horn, juice, might be able to make the roster and bring something nobody else can. Carolina's love running sweeps and bubbles, and I just remember the days where it was Adam Thielen running a lot of those. Jesus Lord. Heard he was doing his thing at OTAs and he just screams OTA, training camp, just practice demon. Obviously that alone don't really mean nothing. The receiver room is low-key loaded. Not necessarily with a whole bunch of crazy talent, but a lot of guys that you assume are at similar Madden overalls. Cause look, Nalo, XL, and Thielen I feel are your locks. Then you get the Coca, Drab Jimmy, David Moore, who I am again giving his flowers to. Then you bring in Hunter Renfrow, which, depending on how he's looking, could throw some things for these younger guys off. We ain't gonna sit here and act like Hunter Renfrow wasn't about the best slot guy in the league not that long ago. Check me out, dawg. Carolina done put down a real good offseason in 2025. When you suck, you don't expect to build some great looking roster on paper in a single offseason. Strides were made last year. Started the season looking like one of the worst professional football teams of all time. And by season's end, you were very respectable. There are so many things I'd like to just come on here and say, just off the strength that I'm a Carolina fan. But right now, today, I'm choosing to try and be as objective as possible. There are areas on the roster that still aren't that good. Even so, big if, you can maintain that late season energy, paired with some growth from your young talent and what you brought in this offseason, I do think the Panthers are in position to really fight for the division. Everything will honestly depend on one man, but I'll speak more on that in my next one. Hope y'all did enjoy this one. Not gonna lie, I sat on this John for a little bit. I had originally laid the voiceover for this like 2 weeks ago. Been so long I had to come back and add to the script a little bit. Either way though, I do hope y'all enjoyed this one. If you did, leave me a little like, drop any kind of thoughts you got in the comments, subscribe to the channel. Y'all can tap in on my social medias too, I have them linked in the description and all that. And I'ma see y'all real soon in the next one.